Hi there, this is Adam Carroll, the show UN This Week. And today we're going to be speaking with the founder and executive director of Women of the World, which is an organization based in Utah that works to help forcibly displaced women make Utah their home and build community through self-reliance and trust. Our guest is also an awardee of the Nansen Awards, which is given by the UN High Commissioner of Human Rights. And so we're going to be talking about her story, the stories of the women she assists, and welcome to the show, Samira.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, Samira Harnish, you're the founder of this organization, but I wondered if you could say a little bit about the journey that took you from Iraq to Utah.
Yeah, really a long journey. I would love to. One of the things that I wanted to mention, when I was a younger, very young, close 10 years old, I drew a picture of women that are trapped in a spider web, and she is extending her hand and shouting for help. So the spider web, it represents our society, that it gave a great opportunity for my brothers, but not for my sister and I. So since then, always I think, one day I will be the one that to help the women from Middle East only. But of course, one of the important things in my life to choose who do I marry, it did not happen. So I was very young teen, and I was arranged marriage and came to Utah. Logan, Utah actually is to go to the university. My ex-husband had a scholarship to study in USU, and that's when I told him, I want my diary to study engineering. So that's what I did. And as a foreign student, it's too hard to get help. Of course, you have to have the help only from my family to send money. And at that time, it happened in 1979 when the American hostage, they were in Iran, and everybody thought I'm Iranian. They pushed me away and they told me, go home, Iranian. And even the policeman that you want to trust to tell them to help me, he said, well, tell me first if you are Iranian or not. And I used not to say I'm Iranian, even though I'm not, and I thought, well, what makes different if you are Iranian or Iraqi or whoever, I felt it, oh, wow. I thought America is the best place to go to. And now people that are judging me on my color, telling me to go home, even though they don't know who I am. And I'm giving twice more tuition for my college than any American, So I had a baby when I was a baby, and took my baby with me in my backpack and going to school and study really hard, at night when my kids to go to sleep. So I got my degree, and of course, it's not easy. I'm just want to jump from place to place to say that I got a job in one of the largest semiconductor as a senior engineer. I became a senior engineer by taking more classes in electrical engineer and all these things. So even when I was an engineer, I saw that discrimination between the male and the female, and that would make me more concerned. One day I'm going to be really helping the women from my country. And that's what's happened, when I came in to Utah in 2009 in Salt Lake City. And I don't know at that time Utah very well. And so I was a volunteer as a medical interpreter for Huntsman Hospital for resettlement agency, and taking women to go to the doctor and interpret for them. And it was kind of really amazing to hear women coming from Sudan, Somalia, Iraq, Jordan. All those women, they speak Arabic, but different dialect. they said, we wanted someone to lead us. We want someone to have, to give us a voice, to guide us, to advocate for us. And I thought, they said, why you don't be one? So of course, right away I learned about the NGO and about the nonprofit sector, and create the Women of the World, to help all the women, not only women from Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's inspiring, actually. And of course, you started out as a volunteer, and now you have volunteers working with you to help women who have managed to come to the United States. Of course, as we all know, the current administration has made that quite difficult,
Yes.
and the numbers are quite low, but the needs are still great. And I was wondering, uh, well, we can talk about your organization in a moment, but how do you see the various diverse women who are coming? Who is in Utah? What kind of refugee groups are there?
Is actually the majority, I would say, is Iraqi, from Iraq, Somalia, Central Africa, Congo, and Burma. But unfortunately, we don't have that much Rohingya. I think it's in 2018. I remember, we have like 200 families, and I remember, we have a few families that we helped. Not only the women, we have the male as well, because they were injured in war. So yeah. Um, so yeah, this is the majority. We have 60,000 individual refugee in Utah. So like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that of course contrasts with the over 60, I think now over 70 million displaced people around the world. So it's such a small group that manages to come to the U.S. The refugees who arrive, and again, they have to be uh, let in. Some of them may have open cases, some of them may have status, but are they helped by any particular agencies?
So we have a couple resettlement agency, IRC, International Rescue Committee, and the CCS, the Catholic Community Service. And it's, the resettlement agency is like the other, like in Utah or another state. There's a great network in a public and to provide the support, but unfortunately, the resettlement agency always to help the refugee in the beginning, a few months with the Medicare, Medicaid, and with the housing. But after that, you see they force the men to get a job and the children to go to school, and that's when the women being pushed away. Stay home when we have time for you. So. Uh, we do have agencies, just like I said, the resettlement agency, and we have the RSO is the Refugee Service Office as well. They help with any kind of need in the beginning, when they come. But now, after a while, they have some kind of program to help to find a job and to help with the apply for food stamp or any kind of other kind of help. But it's all I would say, unfortunately, there's a lot of bureaucracy and there's a lot of rules. And if you do this, I will give you that, something is like that. So you see, they after all, they want to through the refugee and they are in here, they're supposed to feel safe. And this is the first question: do you feel safe in here? And they see all these rules and the bureaucracy they have to go through, they see themselves they lost that connection with their kids or with to feel like safe or whatever. Why we have to do this to find this? Why I have to work from the morning until 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and after that 3 hours English classes, and I have to go to home when my kids are already asleep, especially with the single mother. They don't have someone to watch them. That's why we have a lot of a problem to find with the kids, run away from school, or stealing food from the school, or going in, they get in gang and violent and all these things, is because there's no one is watching them. If there's a father, to watch them, and that will be great. But some of them, we are dealing with a single mother. They have a lot of a problem with that, and I really reach out to the senator many, many, many times, taking the story, taking people with me and showing what's going on, to change some of these kind of regulation.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that a few months of financial assistance is certainly insufficient for people who've been through trauma, war, and then trying to navigate in new cultures, and then all these rules, as you said, which may be in many ways confusing. With trying to advocate for these families, for the women and their families, you mentioned going to elected officials. What kind of presentations do you do? What do you ask for?
You mean with to advocate for the women? What kind of? So I will say, first of all, it's really not easy, to women to trust us and tell us about their problem and all these things. So I learned that from my experience, that I wanted to listen to them, to their problem, to be emotional with them and tell them, yeah, everything is going to be okay. That's when you attract that trust. A lot of people, they ask me, our organization, they ask me, they said, why the women, they come to you, why they trust you, why they tell you all their story and everything. And this is the number one, to listen and hear them, what they are talking, and to to be emotional with them. So we have 3 programs that we in our organization is the first program is customer service, advocacy, and capacity building, and second one, economic empowerment and community development. What I mean about the advocacy is we advocate for them through the immigration, housing, and healthcare issue. It's like last week, actually, we had a woman. She was injured, and she has to do. No, I'm sorry. She has a problem with her kidney failure, and she has to do a surgery, but she does not have Medicaid. But it was an emergency when she went. So the bills came at $80,000, and she does not have a job because she lost it because of COVID-19, and her husband is working but part-time, and she has 7 kids, and how she pay $80,000, for that. So we help them with that, because if we fill application to the hospital, and we tell them and we show them, she does not have the money to pay for them. So this is this is one of the example, to say about the advocacy. With the immigration, there's many things that's happening, many women, they said, I cannot pay for applying for citizenship. So we file a waiver for their citizenship, and we get that. Of course, there's a lot of paper working things, and we do these things for them. Yeah,
I think the amount that refugees need to pay, or anyone needs to pay for citizenship, has increased, right? It's more expensive now.
Yeah, but they hold on to it. It's supposed to be in beginning of October. But they said, we were yelling and shouting and everything. They said they hold on now with it. They're not gonna. It used to be, we'll have a waiver for the applying for that, and they said they're gonna put the waiver is, I think it was $1,500 or something like that. They said they're gonna put it in October. So we wrote and we talked and everything, and they said, okay, they hold on to it until the next year to see how it goes, because of the COVID-19. They're not going to do it this year.
Yeah, I'm sure COVID-19 makes all of this much more difficult
Yeah.
just to reach people, to get them to go to the right meetings. I see you're drinking from a UNHCR cup, and I'm going to have to ask you about your award in a minute.
Oh
But
gosh.
I did want to ask about some of the women, maybe some more stories, and both about their needs, but also their resilience.
Yes. Yes. I think, I mean, of course, in our website, and we have more in here, pictures in our wall, every picture, it has a story in it, how they are resilient, how they are, uh, you know, for all the things they went through, you see them, they wanted to do something. This is their opportunity. They wanted to do something. So we've been giving a certificate, for the women that reached one of the certificate actually in the picture in there. We give a certificate for the women that reached their goals. The goals that they do like that year, either learning English, learning how to drive, and to be independent they aim for it and they reach to the, or to be, to study master degree, bachelor degree, the first generation to go to college. And we do have anonymous women that to give a scholarship for the women. So I came to this idea, to give a certificate on December, every December. 9 years I've been doing that. The first year I remember I gave a three certificate for women. This is the show that I make to make the American in Utah to understand, to educate them, tell them, who are those women and why they are getting this certificate, to tell a little bit about their story in that. And the women actually, they come and they speak in the microphone and they say why they received this certificate. So the first year I gave it 3, and last year I gave 10 times more. It's because this gave the other, the peers, the women that are sitting in the audience, they said, well, next year I'm going to get that the certificate. It's because, and the other thing is I call women like in Utah, like the mayor, Jackie, one time I told her to come and give the certificate, is because I feel that it's very happy there is someone in the government come to see them. There's American people sitting in the audience to see us, and it's a free event. They get really happy to tell them, thank you so much, Utah, for giving us the opportunity to be in here. And they wanted to give back to the community by being a nurse, a doctor, and we have a woman, engineer. This is the shining time when I do that. And we have, of course, the event is for the fashion show. This is the only event that I do. It is on International Women's Day. I used to do it actually as just free for the people to understand. Again, education for the American people, because I don't like them to come and pull the hijab from the women, or to tell them don't wear this kind of clothes, like Congolese or the Central Africa. The women been pushed away in the grocery store, and they called me right away because they said, "This is America. You have to change that." And I do not want them to change their culture. I do love the best of their culture and the best of American culture, to combine them, to make them strong. So this is why I do the fashion show. But I start to do it with this is the only fundraiser to do it for. I think it's 5 years when I start to do the fundraiser with that. But they are so beautiful, of course, and to show not only their beautiful culture in their clothes and their beautiful faces, they show how they are so resilient, and they are learning one step by one step at a time. And yeah,
I saw that you do a lot to empower these women, and there's something on your website called a ladies blog. I was wondering if you could say what that is.
ladies blog. This actually one of the intern, she told me, can I do this ladies blog? So she met with them actually, and they talk about their story. You see, a lot of young women, they came in with they saw whatever they saw in their country and being saved by either a grandma or mother, only mother and without dad. So when they come over here, they wanted to say something about they wanted to tell the people how harsh they went through and what they are doing right now. So this is actually is new. Not too long ago, we start to do that. Ladies O'Clock. We do a lot. Like of course podcasts and everything, and make them to come and just talk about their their challenge and how they become. How, I mean, I think I would say the one thing that I learned from them is life goes on. Even though they went with this horrible things, war, oppression, poverty, mutilation, rape, and when they come in here, they stand up and they wanted to work and to be in there. And I want Samira to teach me English, to go in there, to teach me the regulation and laws and everything. This is
I'm sure they can teach us a lot as well. And
exactly.
I think so you're letting their voice be heard with these podcasts and the blogs, and letting them know their rights and encouraging them to engage. And I hope that's reaching the whole family, the men as well, that message. And so again, about the stories, I mean, I'm sure they're all interesting, but if you can tell me a couple of stories that maybe inspire you, each day.
Well, I mean, one of the story actually, one of the lady that the first 5 years I didn't have an office, so my office was my pilot going around, from house to house to help, and the only people that were helping me is the volunteers. So I remember one time I was in TV or radio, and this lady, she called me and she said, I'm from Pakistan and I heard you on the TV. Right away I took your information and I'm calling you right now because I have a woman from Pakistan. She's been in here for 11 years and she has a son 11 years old, and she's been beat up by her husband and the family, and she does not speak English. So please, can you see her? And I said, yeah, of course. So when I met her, of course, she was very skinny, pale, and she does not speak English except hi, how are you, and bye. So she was the lady that she called me. She introduced me to Fatima, and she was interpreting for Fatima about her life. And I thought, so do you know how to take a bus? She said, no. Do you go to school to learn English? No. So all she did is stay home, and her son was with her at that time and telling me, please save my mom. So I said, well, first of all, I cannot do the separation from your husband because this is not our program, and because we have YWCA, it does this separation, to separate the husband, and they give her shelter and until they do her paper divorce or whatever. So that's when I took her in there, the first things. And after that, of course, learn English. We call it practical English. She wanted to speak English right now, to get a job or to go to school and ask about her son, how he's doing at school. So this is the practical English that we create in our organization. So she learned English and we got her a job, and she said, I really wanted to have my own apartment, and she got her own apartment. And I remember when I saw her, she was so happy that she said, look, I make it. I have my own check. I have my own apartment. I want you to come to visit me, to see my apartment. I want to cook for you. And when I went in there, you see her, she is so, it's just like a bird was in a trap and now it's flying. So it was so amazing, I just crying from happiness, and she's taking the bus. and now she's taking her, a citizenship. And because she didn't have any paper that to go and visit her mom in Pakistan, she didn't stay here forever, and when last year, she did not only go to Pakistan, she went even to Mecca to take her mom in there and to visit Mecca. Isn't that amazing? It's really, from 11 years living in that captive place, and now she is a free woman,
That's wonderful. Yeah. And it's a reminder that, well, that this is how it should be, that we help each other.
Exactly.
I'm thinking now of all the controversy, not just around immigrants in general, which we have in this country, but we have in so many countries now, right?
Yes.
And but also, unfortunately, in France, where there's been some violence, but it's a cycle of violence. It's a cycle of people feeling repressed and then lashing out in a terrible way, maybe a terrorist way. But then there's all these rallies now and boycotts against President Macron because he's being very heavy-handed. And yet the violence is continuing. And instead of this dynamic, which is so destructive, why not choose neighborliness? Why not choose to help each other?
Exactly.
Now, Utah, I've been there once, and I think of it as a very Mormon place. And I was wondering, what role do the Mormon community leaders play, or the Mormon community in general? What do they get involved in resettlement?
They don't get involved with the resettlement, but they do get involved with donation and respecting them and all these things. The first time, actually, I will say the truth, when I came to Utah and knocked the door and people telling them, we have a woman, they need to go to school. I don't have money for them, to help them, or women that they wanted to get to learn English and they have to pay for it. So our organization helping not only refugee, we help asylum seeker and DECA and international women as well. So we are different than another organization. So we don't get the fund from government. So I go and I ask, please, I wanted a class for them. I want this and this. And they always ask, why women? Why don't let them to stay home and take care of their kids and this way, So I thought, well, no, they're a single mother, and there's a mother, they wanted to help their husband because their husband, with their little English, they don't get a good job to pay for the bills and everything. So I explained that for them, and I did find some people that stand up against me to tell me, so what we get back? Like, can we convert them to Mormonism? So, and I said, no, I'm not going to do this. We do not ask about religion. We don't ask about what politics. We don't ask about these things. We always see a human being in the front of us. They need help, and we help them. This way, I do that. So, after a while, it changed, and I will tell you seriously, I couldn't make it with 5 years in my car. I cannot do it by myself. Many women, they call me here and there. So the volunteer is number one, I would say, number one state in the whole world is Utah. They love to volunteer. They love to come and help with the women issues, or, so I, just like I said, it's really hard for me. I don't have money. I don't have an office. I don't have anything except volunteers. They will come and go. They come back for a month, for 2 or 3 hours a week, and they go and they come back more, so it's really amazing. When the retired women, they love to stay with me, with volunteering always. The donation is in their religion, they give, so from food, like from clothes, any kind of need in the house, they love to give, again, without them, actually, I couldn't survive, because there's many needs with books and jackets and, and here it's so cold, and the snow. Just a week ago, it was snowing in here. So, I mean, it's really very warm this way, and to tell you, we have 60 active volunteers that they do mentor one-on-one with the women to be friends with them. This is what I tell them always. They are our new neighbors, and we want to welcome them. You're gonna learn a lot of this, and instead of going to their country, they are in here, and you're gonna learn more from culture, from it's more stories to give some what they call it, some encouragement that to stay alive and to work, and it's okay. We have this hardship. We're going to go on with that, So it's really, they are really a great people to be with now, and especially when the president came and said no for Muslim, is they went crazy. I mean, from their prophet, and the phone was ringing on me, day and
that was when the Muslim ban was announced.
Yes, the Muslim ban.
So I'm glad to hear that they were really against that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, we were like 10, I remember 10,000 march to the Capitol, and I was one of the speaker actually there too. And they were really hurt, and they start to give and give and give, anything, just to it does change a lot.
That's very reassuring about humanity, or anyway, basic decency. We're going to take a really short break. Don't go away, but we'll be right back for station identification. This is Adam McCarroll with UN This Week. And this is Adam Carroll. I'm back with Samira Harnish from Women of the World, talking about women refugees and their resilience and the wonderful programs that her organization is helping with. And before we talk about the UNHCR on your mug and on your medal, I did also want to ask you specifically about the Burmese community in Utah, because of course our NGO runs Burma Task Force, and we're interested in the diaspora, in their needs. And I was wondering if they have any different needs, or are they pretty much the same as other immigrant groups or refugee groups?
I will say is the same, because the one of the things is, I kind of of course, this is everywhere. When the refugee they come and they sign for apartments. I remember, one of the family I visited, and they know I'm Muslim, so they, read the Quran together and all these things, so they were really happy to visit always. They want me to be in there. And I remember, their apartment, has mold to the wall, to the ceiling. And I went and I asked the landlord to go and do something about it, because they have a kid has asthma. And I said, please, I want you to clean up, their wall, because it's really not good for them. And especially there are 6 living in 2 bedrooms and mold is reach out to their bed and everything. And I remember, of course, it happened many times, too. It's not because they are Rohingya or anything, but they, she yelled at me and she said, this is the way they like it, that's why, their food, their, the way they lived in their camp and everything, they like whatever they do, and they destroy my wall. Now they have to pay $1,000 and $1,000 for that. So I took a picture with my phone and I went to the health department and I said, this is the way it is, and this is the woman. She told me like that, and they came right away to her house and talked to her about it. So I think it's one of the things, they think is Burma, all the Burmese, Korean, and Rohingya, their food, it caused the mold on the wall. And
The food caused the mold. Okay.
because because there's steam is coming and all these things, and I thought,
Huh.
where did this come from? I mean, come
Yeah.
on, let's educate you some more from them. Come, let's just see their food and everything. It's because the apartment is so small, because there is no window, sometimes it's open, and they do leave the door open, actually, sometimes when I go to visit them. So I said, what did it? So this is the mentality they think is the Burmese, their food is steaming or something like that, and that will cause it,
Well, it might be delicious too, but I suppose it smells differently, and they don't know how to react to that. And smell is sort of a really basic,
Well,
thing. You react to it. So,
losers.
but yeah, but hopefully they'll learn to appreciate each other. So, all right, you've been doing this now for a number of years. How many years now?
And this year is 10 years. Yes.
10 years. Yeah. Congratulations.
10 years. Thank you so much.
So a couple of years ago, somehow the UN found out about you and gave you an award. How did that happen?
So I think it's one of the, no, I think she is. After that, I found out one of the volunteers that she wrote about me and all these things. And I didn't know anything about the Nansen Award at that time. And when I got a call from, someone actually sent me an email telling me the United Nations from Washington, D.C. or from New York, I don't remember, said they're going to call you on Monday at this hour. Are you free? And I said, yeah, sure, I'm free. So my heart was beating up and all these things. My dream when I was young in Iraq, I always say, one day I'm going to go to the United Nations and to be a part of them. And I need to help all the people around them. Bring the peace, to be humanitarian. So I always say that, and my mom, she always shout at me and tell me, just be quiet, So I mean, when they told me like this, and I said, okay, I have to remember when this person is calling me, I'm gonna hit recorder in my phone, because I don't know why they are calling me. Maybe I don't get it, And I did hit the recorder on my phone. And the gentleman told me, hey, do you know you are one of the award, for the Nansen Award? And I said, oh, excuse me? Was that? So he explained for me was a Nansen Award and all these things. And after that, he said, we have 450 people that apply for it from all over the world, but we chose only 5, one from each continent. And you are continent of Americas. And I thought, what? I started to cry, sobbing, I couldn't say anything for him, but he is talking to me. And he said, yeah, well, we're going to celebrate in October, but don't tell anybody about that until we have it on their website and everything, and until they send someone from United Nations to come to my office. He called it his, what did he call it? He said the headquarters. And so I don't know how many people they work in there and everything. And I thought, well, we have only 2 case manager and I, we don't have headquarters, that to work in here. So they sent someone, gentleman, to come and do video for us and met with the women. And so at that time, I have office already, because I told her, they told them, the young lady that she applied for me, she wrote about me. She says she's still working from her pilot, car. So they came in and they took that video and went in October 1st, when we celebrate in Geneva. And of course, I met a lot of amazing people in there. And I just cry because this is my hope. One day I'm going to go to the United Nations. I really always wanted to be a part of it, I am a part of it because I'm doing,
yes,
this work, but
well, without what you're doing in the grassroots level, UN would just be a lot of talk, frankly. So I think it's really important, and I'm really glad that your efforts were recognized, and also they're recognized by the women themselves, which is very clear, who look so beautiful on your website. It's really very, very lovely. And So we're getting people responding from different places here on the screen, which is nice. So how can people assist your organization? Do you take donations?
Yes, we do, of course. I mean, with the COVID-19, unfortunately, we lost a lot of funding, for this year. And just like I said, we don't take government funding, just private sector and companies and all these things. We do take a donation, of course, for giving a scholarship for the women that the first generation to be in there. And just like I said, because the asylum seeker in the international student and DECA, they don't get any help from government. And we have been giving, if you see the scholarship that we give, thank God, from one of the a lady that anonymous in Oregon. She's been sending, money for 3 years now. The first year, she just wanted to see if it's going to work or whatever. When she's read the essay and everything, she cried. And she never did meet those women, too. And we wanted to do some kind of celebration one day to meet them because they. This is really great, of course, for if we get this money and to give those DACA students and make them to finish their degree and help them, to their future, because they are going to give back to the community. That's what they are always, they tell me, I don't know what kind of donation they are thinking about, but this is the donation we are asking for. Most of the time, I don't want to take any used clothes or used shoes or whatever, because they have a dignity, they have a pride and dignity, on them, and why we give them something is used, So I came to tell everyone, if you wanted to give something, give it a gift certificate, like from these places like Walmart, any places that they have clothes, they go by themselves. First of all, it's not going to be hard for us to see who fit in what and what kind of clothes they like or color. It's better to give them a gift certificate. They feel more happy to go take their kids and let's go and choose whatever you want and the size they want, So the gift certificate is really going really great. And thank God for the community around us. I speak a lot in here in churches or school and everything. And they know that it's time not for a hat or a ripped hat or smelly hat or boot with a hole or like that, I mean, I throw them in the garbage. I don't want to give it to them, So we need
of course. Yeah,
pay.
well, people can go to your website and figure out how to help and to donate, and if they're in Utah, to volunteer. And really, this is a great service. And
Thank you.
I hope that COVID-19 pandemic will, not make any of you sick, but I'm sure it's all around. Rates have been high recently in Utah. I hope your ladies are keeping healthy, inshallah.
Yeah, actually a month ago.
Yeah.
I got COVID-19 a month ago.
Oh, well.
Even though we wear masks and everything, and with the cleaning and all these things, but and fortunately I got it mild. But of course, we do have some ladies, because one of the hardest things is that they don't have laptop for their kids to be on the computer. I mean, to be taking classes on the laptop, then going to school. So they brought the COVID-19 to them, and we are always taking, sanitizer and cleaning and food for them, to deliver for those family they have it. Yeah, hopefully it goes from all over the world, all the world, hopefully, and especially, the camp and all these places where the more people together in there, I hope we pray for that to be one day with the this vaccine, I mean, I'm sorry, to find the vaccine and this disease goes away.
Yeah, all those people in those crowded camps everywhere. It's really something to remember.
Yeah.
So we have to finish, but it's been a pleasure speaking with you. And also, I hope that people will want to support your work.
Thank you.
And that the antibodies will protect you going forward, hopefully, and that God will protect you as well. So thank you very much, and thank you all to the viewers, and we'll see you the next show. This is Adam Carroll with UN This Week, and remember that we are having a fundraiser for Justice for All coming up shortly on November 21st, and hopefully you can join us then as well. So thank you, everybody, and goodbye.